Hi, my name is Justin Pecci, and I'm VP of Sales and co-founder at Torre. Recruiting good candidates is more difficult, more expensive today than it's ever been. In the midst of a technological revolution, there's no way it's sustainable to continue reviewing resumes manually, calling candidates who don't respond and don't show up to interviews. We end up hiring people because we're in a hurry, or even worse, we end up hiring the wrong person because of how long it took us to make a decision. We founded Torre with the aim of solving this problem. And we started with a simple question. If recruitment were invented today from zero, how would it work? And with the support of early investors and executives from companies like Apple, Amazon, SpaceX, Facebook, TikTok, we created the answer. Torre. With Torre, you can let artificial intelligence do the recruiting for you. Torre automates the acquisition, filtering, classification, interviews, and re-engagement of candidates. It reduces your manual processes with objectivity, with data, with automatic processes that do the hard work for you quickly and accurately. We call this programmatic recruitment. The thousands of companies using Torre have reported up to 3 times faster recruiting, 20% higher employee retention, 50% or more savings in recruiting costs, and 79% fewer interviews required. And no, it doesn't matter if you're a company with thousands and thousands of employees or if you're a small company where the owner continues to do the recruiting. Yes, Torre can help you. You might be wondering, what's the secret to achieving these results? How can I use that secret? The answer is Torre OS, Torre's recruitment operating system. In this video, I'm going to show you how it works, and make sure to stay until the end so you don't miss any details. In this demo, I'm going to walk you through the flow of posting and opening, attracting candidates, learning from those candidates, filtering them, sorting them, interviewing them, and then keeping them engaged for future use. Now, I want to talk to you about very important things that are at the heart and center of Torre. First is Emma, our automated AI recruiter. Emma's going to interact with candidates for you. Emma's going to chat with candidates to invite them to openings, help them complete their applications, check their references, keep them engaged for future openings, ask for referrals, and a whole lot more. And she does this in a respectful, objective, and agile way, always giving feedback to candidates along the way. Second, Emma can do all of this because at Torre, we've interviewed thousands and thousands of recruiters, hiring managers, and executives over the years to determine what is every single factor that you utilize to make a determination when hiring a candidate. Through that, we identified more than 112 factors, and we create the technology to capture them, validate them, and analyze them with 9 types of AI that replicate human intuition without discrimination. We call this Torre Match. Third, we do not use resumes. Why? Resumes just aren't enough. They don't have most of those 112 factors. Instead, we use a new type of profile, a professional genome for each and every candidate that includes thousands of data points such as experience, hard and soft skills, preferences, skills the person wants to develop, skills the person doesn't want to develop, psychometrics, professional behavior, self-awareness, speed and learning capabilities, networks, reference checks, recommendations, certifications, and even more. And fourth, Torre allows you to reduce a large number of the interviews and improve their quality. This is because Torre does not only compare candidates with the opening, it also does the match by comparing the candidates with your team and the leaders they will have. Torre uses more than 40 dimensions of professional behavior to calculate a cultural fit between them. It's going to highlight where you have similar work style, where you might clash, where you complement one another. We call it Torre Cultural Fit. And fifth, when attracting candidates, Torre optimizes your cost to the minimum necessary. Emma first draws on your existing candidate database, your website, your social networks, and your team's referrals. These are free candidate sources for you. And if you need to attract candidates from paid sources, like job boards, Torre Reach helps you set a daily budget and then manages that budget using artificial intelligence, and along with Emma, imports all of those candidates into your database automatically. And better yet, Torre allows you to use that database also automatically, so that over time you depend less and less on external sources of candidates and have more control over your entire recruiting process. Now, let me show you the flow in Torre. Let's start by publishing a job opening. Note how Torre not only works to recruit candidates for full-time vacancies, but also candidates for flexible jobs, part-time jobs, even internships. You can use highly customizable criteria. For example, Torre allows you not only to post openings that ask for a certain number of years of experience in the skill, but it also allows you to ask for a certain level of proficiency in that skill. Torre helps you determine what compensation to offer by giving you access to a salary calculator based on actual compensation expectations of millions of candidates. To confirm that you're posting your job listing correctly as you determine your criteria, Torre will give you a sample of candidates that match your job's needs. We call it candidate sampling, and allows you to have very quick feedback loops. To attract more and better candidates, you can add 2 things to your job offers to make them more human. A video, very useful in these times of Instagram and TikTok. Also, something we've learned is very important for a new generation of candidates is knowing who they're going to be working with. Torre allows you to add profiles of the people the candidate will be working with, including their future boss. Once you publish the opening, Torre helps you automate the use of dozens of candidate acquisition channels. Torre first helps you take advantage of free sources of candidates for you, your existing candidate database, referrals from your team, your website, search engines like Google, your social networks, TikTok, Facebook, X, your LinkedIn page, your office or stores if you have them, etc. For any vacancy, Torre lets you easily import your existing candidate database either in bulk with a file or one by one. Emma will automatically identify relevant candidates in your database and notifies them for you. The message is always personalized for each candidate, letting them know why it's relevant to them. If you like proactivity, Torre has a powerful search system so that you can explore your candidate database using dozens of different criteria. And while that might be impressive, even better is that Torre helps you discover hidden gems in your database automatically. You don't have to do manual searches. For every vacancy, AI does the search for you and suggests the best candidates in your database so that you can invite them with a single click. But that's not all. Emma will automatically write to them too. For your candidate database to be considered for each new vacancy, you don't have to lift a single finger. Torre does all the work for you. Now, as we all know, referrals can bring in some great candidates. Torre makes it fun for your colleagues to refer candidates with gamification by showing which people have referred the most candidates. In fact, each referred candidate remains in your database even if they have never applied. And so that visitors to your website can see what vacancies you have, Torre will give you a careers page personalized with your brand. From there, candidates can not only apply, but also pre-apply and then receive notifications the next time you publish a job offer that matches their preferences. Aside from a careers page, your team will also have a team genome that will provide a ton of information about the qualities you and your team have to attract additional and better candidates. For social media, Torre will automatically generate a video that you can share and attract candidates, and Torre will provide you with a QR code that you can print and put on your walls that allows candidates to discover your vacancies and apply right from their phones. But if free candidate sources aren't enough, Torre helps you automatically attract candidates from paid sources. This is Torre Reach. Torre Reach helps you to set a daily budget, attract active and passive candidates, and manage your budget by maximizing return on investment using artificial intelligence. To attract active candidates, that is, those who are actively looking for employment, Torre Reach identifies the best job portals for each opening and then publishes them. When you already have enough good candidates, it automatically turns them off. This is called programmatic advertising. Some job boards will allow you to take your candidates to that posting and apply there, but not all of them. Torre will automatically import all the candidates who applied to your opening on any job board into your candidate database. And then Emma, our AI recruiter, logs into job boards as though she were any other member of your team and does the work by writing personalized messages to each candidate. And to attract passive candidates, those candidates who aren't currently looking for a job at the moment, Emma does what's known as sourcing. That is, Emma searches the web and other databases, discovers the best candidates, contacts those candidates, letting them know about each vacancy. Using artificial intelligence, Emma again personalizes each message, including why that job might be attractive to that candidate. The messages Emma sends are always cordial, always polite. They always have your brand in mind. And if the candidate has any questions, Emma answers it for them quickly. If Emma doesn't have the answer, she contacts you so you can give her the answer, and then Emma will answer on your behalf. Torre automatically tracks all of these acquisition channels and gives you reports so you know which ones are working best for you. By allowing Torre to activate or deactivate your acquisition channels as needed, Torre maximizes the return on your investment, which is going to save you time and save you money. And by the way, if you have an opening for which you always need candidates, there's no need to constantly publish and republish it. You can leave it open all the time, and Torre will constantly help you attract additional candidates. At Torre, we're not only obsessed with the experience of companies, we're also extremely obsessed with the experience of your candidates. Whether they're a match, whether they're not a match, whether they're manually or automatically ruled out. Although Torre relies on a lot more than resumes, we do use resumes as a starting point. When a candidate applies, Torre automatically imports their resume or LinkedIn profile to pre-populate their professional genome. When something is unclear, it automatically checks with the candidate for greater accuracy of that information. Now, something super valuable. As candidates apply, if they're not a match, Torre automatically discards them and explains why. And not only will it provide them with a valuable experience, but it saves you a lot of time since you won't need to review candidates who aren't a match in the first place. And candidates love this experience. Their applications don't go into a black hole. Instead, they receive feedback and they learn. This will greatly improve your employer brand. Has it ever happened to you? You like a candidate, you do a ton of interviews, and when you finally go to make an offer, it turns out the candidate wanted a higher salary? Well, to avoid these misunderstandings, when a candidate applies, Torre confirms with him or her whether the compensation offered is attractive. And when you offer a compensation range, Torre asks candidates to choose a specific value. To filter candidates, one of the things you can do is add a question for candidates to answer as they apply. They can be open or multiple choice questions. You can configure them so that depending on the response, some candidates are automatically excluded. You can also save time by pre-interviewing your candidates with questions they must answer by recording a video. You can even ask the question with a video of yourself. This makes the whole process much more human. If some candidates have already applied and you add a new question, Torre will automatically ask all active candidates in that opening to answer it. And to save you even more time, Emma performs reference checks automatically. And this is done by Emma even before you review the candidate. By the way, if you require candidates to be proficient in a particular language, Torre performs quick language tests using AI to analyze writing, reading, listening, and speaking skills. You can see the statistics of your vacancy at any time and thus identify potential bottlenecks. Here, for example, is the funnel that allows you to view how many people have seen your publication to how many people have been hired. Now let's move on to the pipeline. This is the place where candidates who have applied are shown for you. It's organized by states. Some states come by default, but you can customize the pipeline according to the process of each of your openings. Each card represents a candidate. These first columns show the candidates from your database that Torre suggests you invite to apply. And here are the candidates who have applied and are waiting for you to review them. Here in the pipeline, you can visualize some of the work that Emma does for you. If a candidate started applying but didn't finish the application, Emma contacts them and encourages them to continue. And she does it through multiple channels as well. Email, WhatsApp, text messages. Emma will use whatever channel is needed for the candidates to respond. Torre Match is one of the most important parts of Torre. Torre Match filters and sorts candidates automatically using more than 100 factors and 9 types of AI. Here are just some of them. When ranking candidates, Torre is going to list the most experienced and proficient candidates first. For each and every hard skill, Torre analyzes experience as well as proficiency. In terms of experience, Torre determines whether each candidate's professional time meets the minimum requirements of the opening. And in terms of proficiency, that is, if the job requires a novice, proficient, or expert candidate in some skill, Torre determines whether the experience and recommendations that candidate has are also enough. Torre allows you to identify good candidates even if they don't have their skills listed using the exact same word that you used in the vacancy. Torre Match has a map of more than 65,000 hard skills and with more than 1 million relationships between them. Torre knows when a single skill is recognized under different names, when one skill implies having another skill, and when there's a high correlation between two skills. Torre Match also takes into account the skills that the candidate wants to develop, as well as the skills that the candidate does not want to develop. Regarding language skills, Torre ranks candidates who are more proficient in the languages you need higher. For openings with negotiable compensation, Torre Match prioritizes candidates with the most affordable expectations for you. As for the location of the candidate, it depends on the type of job. For jobs with a physical location where the candidate will have to go if hired, Torre will give more priority to candidates who live closer and will take less time to get to and from work. There's a lot of studies that have shown that this is an important factor in employee happiness and retention. If the vacancy is for multiple locations, for example, multiple stores, multiple offices, Torre automatically identifies the one closest to the candidate and then makes a match. For remote jobs open to multiple time zones, Torre gives more priority to candidates who are close to the main time zone. If you added questions to your opening that candidates must answer when they apply, Torre Match analyzes the answers of each candidate and then lists the candidates with best answers first. Torre Match analyzes the behavior of candidates and determines how accurately each candidate knows what they are good at. We call this self-awareness. Candidates with high self-awareness are listed first. Torre Match also gives more priority to candidates with reference checks and recommendations. In fact, Torre analyzes the relationships between all the recommendations people have given to one another in order to determine which candidates have a better reputation and then prioritizes those for you. To increase the chances of finding trustworthy employees, Torre Match gives higher priorities to candidates your team already knows. It does this by accessing the contact list of candidates and your team members if they wish to share that information. And when you have candidates that you didn't hire but you'd like to keep in mind for future openings, Torre allows you to signal them with a single click. A signal is to indicate that you would consider working with somebody potentially now or in the future. For future openings, Torre Match lists the highest candidates that you or someone in your company has signaled. Torre allows you to reduce many interviews with candidates that you can predict will not be a cultural fit with your team, and focus your interviews on discussing similarities and differences that you already knew before even speaking with the candidate. I know, sounds like magic, but it isn't. To achieve this, Torre uses more than 40 dimensions of professional culture of the candidate in your team to predict a cultural fit. For example, here we're going to compare me to Alex, our CEO. The information from this analysis comes from a 5-minute questionnaire that both Alex and I answered. Torre compares the answers for each dimension and focuses on the dimensions where Alex and I behave significantly outside the average. That is, it discovers what makes each of us unique and then compares us. This cultural fit report shows where we're similar and the areas in which we're different, which just means in some cases that we complement one another. And as you can see, he and I are highly compatible. To make these reports even more accurate, Torre also allows third parties who know us to answer the questionnaire. These people are known as observers. Torre will then average third-party responses with each person's own responses. If the answers vary significantly, Torre lets you know. Other tests like the Big Five only use 5 behavioral dimensions. Myers-Briggs, just 4. Torre Cultural Fit uses 10 times more dimensions and is the result of years of research and development. They were inspired by the OCP instrument, Organizational Cultural Profile, developed by Charles O'Reilly of Stanford, as well as components of the Exico model. The OCP and the Exico are the most scientifically and academically accepted psychometric instruments in the world, and that's why we use them for inspiration. And finally, you can download and share PDF reports per candidate of details of how each factor is a match or not a match. Something we're very proud of is the logic behind all the AI and the algorithms is completely transparent. We're very committed to making artificial intelligence transparent to avoid discrimination. For each factor, for each candidate, you can see the why and how of the logic. And on top of it all, at Torre, we created and signed the FAIR Manifesto. FAIR stands for Fair Artificial Intelligence in Recruitment. If you have some time, I highly encourage you to read it. Now let's talk about how quickly and easily you can interact with candidates. To save you tons of time, you can set up automatic messages for candidates at different stages, and you can personalize them. And so you don't have to chase after every candidate every time you send a message to a candidate, manually or automatically. Torre will follow up with them on your behalf via email, WhatsApp, and SMS. And the exact same thing happens when Emma is the one sending the messages. Torre helps you not leave your candidates in the dark. You can rule out candidates with one click and give them feedback with another. With this, you improve your employer brand quickly and effectively. Share notes and messages from favorite candidates with your colleagues using Torre. You don't need to use multiple communication channels for your recruiting process. And life really is too short to schedule meetings manually. That's why Torre lets you automatically schedule meetings for interviews and offers. And so you never miss an important message, we have a free app called Torre Messenger. It's available for you and for candidates as well. So you can determine where you could improve your processes. At the end of each one, Torre automatically sends satisfaction surveys to candidates and shares that information with you. Torre allows you to learn a lot from each candidate, and all this information is used intelligently. Torre has powerful feedback loops. Everything you learn from a candidate, Torre keeps in mind for future jobs as well. This means that the more you use Torre, the faster and more agile your recruiting funnel becomes. And if you like all this, but you're worried that your company is already using a bunch of HR technology, don't worry. Torre integrates with just about anything out there. For example, Workday, SuccessFactors, Deal, way more than that. Those are just a few examples. Oof. It's a lot to learn. Imagine all the work we had to do to create each of these solutions. But don't worry, when you begin to use Torre OS, we assign you a transition coach who's going to help you and your team learn to use Torre and go from artisanal recruiting to programmatic recruiting. And also remember that most of what I showed you happens automatically. In most cases, the only thing you need to do is post your opening and let Torre and Emma take care of identifying, attracting, classifying, filtering, sorting, and re-engaging candidates, all using data, all using artificial intelligence to do what it would traditionally take an army of recruiters to be able to do. Start using Torre and join the future of recruitment, programmatic recruitment. You can learn more or chat with a member of our team by using the options below.